All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining our call. This is our uh, bi-weekly all-hands project managers meeting of the UCLA Health IT. Today, we have the opportunity to have Peter Hurley. As some of you may already know, he's a world-renowned photographer. And today's topic is we're going to discuss how to present yourself in the best possible light as a leader, and how to better see your stakeholders in an unfiltered way. And we'll have the moderated session very similar to what we heard in the past with Ian moderating the session. And please feel free to ask questions either verbally or on the chat. And Noreen, if you can let folks in who are trying to join now. Thank you.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, and just to give you a background on Peter, he has over 20 years of experience helping his clients not only get the best possible portraits, like the portrait you see of him on the slide, and he helps them unpack the relationship between their internal thought processes and how it affects their outer appearances. So he's a renowned speaker on the subject in the TEDx series. And he's also the author of The Headshot, a Canon Explorer of Light. And he's also the founder of the Headshot Crew, which comprises the largest group of headshot specialists globally. He lives in New York City with his wife and twin daughters. And he's also the recipient of the 2024 Professional Photographer Achievement Award. And he's also an avid sailor. And I think you said you almost qualified for Olympics, right, Peter?
Yeah, I was a member of the United States sailing team way back in the day.
Okay. So with that introduction, I will turn it over to Ian.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sankar. And again, Peter, thank you for your time today. I'm really excited because Peter has a lot of tips and tricks for us today. But before we jump into that, Peter, if you don't mind, just giving folks a brief glimpse into your professional journey, where you started and how you landed here.
Sure. Well, I landed here because you found me and we hung out and you're like, hey, can you come on? And I was like, Ian, let's go. So I'm honored to be here. It's super cool. And I love talking about this stuff. I think one of the things that people lack is confidence in their appearance. It just, I get hit with it every day, every second of the day, every time somebody walks in front of my camera. And my journey to get to this point, just to give you my purpose right off the bat, is to put a skip in everybody's step from having been photographed by me. By having been in front of my camera, they just go out feeling better about themselves, more attractive potentially. I think our outward appearance is somewhat, I don't want to say overlooked, but it is our representation. I think people have to understand that. So when people hide behind it or they don't have good pictures out there themselves, I don't think it's putting your best foot out there. And I look at it as kind of a side door to your character. I think people that are hiding that, it's like their character's taking a hit because of it. And I don't want people's character to take a hit. I want to show them in their best light, so to speak, if you know what I mean. But it all happened because of me feeling that way. So I was told all my life I was a good-looking kid, I guess. In the 8th grade, I got best looking at my middle school, which was very nice. But I lived with a guy who wanted to get into modeling. I'll try and make this quick. He wanted to get into modeling, and the girls I went to Boston University, and all the girls there called this guy Adonis. And the only reason they talked to me was to get to him. And I was like, this guy's good looking. I got nothing. So he decides one day he wants to go to New York to try and model. So I was like, I'll go with you. Because I live in New Jersey. And I was like, we'll stop by my house. I'll drive down. We'll go into the city. We'll see what this agent that he had a meeting with said. We walked in and the agent's like, nah, sorry, you just don't have it. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, well, I was just sitting there minding my own business. I was like, well, if he doesn't have it, I certainly don't have it. So years later, I was training for the Olympics and I met a designer from Donna Karen, and she said, have you ever modeled? You need pictures for this ceiling thing. You need some branding. You need to get some sponsorship and you need to be in front of a camera. And I was like, I'm not good looking. Like, that other guy was the good looking one, not me. Anyway, she took some pictures, and the next thing I know, she sent me to Ralph Lauren, and I walked in the door and met this designer, and then they decided to put me in an ad campaign, and they threw me in a boat, and I sailed in front of Bruce Weber's camera, who became my friend, and I became a model. And I remember I never took a class. I never went to Barbizon. I didn't do anything. So I was only as good as the photographer that was shooting me. If the photographer was like not very good at direction, I was not, I just looked miserable and I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt like a fish out of water and it wasn't comfortable. But I did it for years and I got better at it. And then I was the model, actor, bartender dude in New York that couldn't rub two nickels together, basically. So I was like, I should pick up a camera and try and make some money. And then I did, and I fell in love with it. And I just went, I understood from being in front of it. Most photographers don't have the experience. There were a lot of models that picked up cameras, and a lot of my friends did. But I think the advantage was I knew what the people were feeling. So people get in front of cameras. The camera is just a hunk of metal, plastic, and glass, but it affects you. It's intimidating, and it changes people, and people shy away from it. And I'm probably speaking to a bunch of you here. And I try to say, hey, in this day and age, you want to be seen, and you want to show up for others, and your likeness is the way you look. It represents you. If I'm going to run into you in an airport, I've got to see you. I'm not going to hear you, or you can't hide behind a Zoom with your camera off. Like, I need to know what you look like. We're creating rapport and relationships and trust based off a number of different variables, and the way we look and the way we appear and the way we communicate with people when we're face to face with them is important in that regard. So I want everybody to go out there confident and walk their walk, and you know, having, you know, a good feeling about the way you roll is important. And that goes beyond just your physical looks. Look, everybody, your parents gave you what they gave you, you know, so you guys are rolling with whatever you got. I'm rolling with what I thank my parents. I was, when I got the UN award, my dad was in the audience. I said, this would have never happened if I would have never picked up a camera if I wasn't a model first. I said, so Dad, thank you for the looks. You know, it's like, anyway, I'm going on and on, but that's the thing. I think people, look, it's absolutely normal to shy away from cameras. And when people get in front of cameras and light up, it's weird. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? Like, I need to talk to you. I'm actually, I want to start doing a podcast, and I'm like, I want to dig into these people to find out what it is that makes people tick, and that's being part of it. I did this TEDx talk at MIT, and which I thought was awesome, because I basically failed out of BU. I had to go. I was on the 5-year plan. I was not good, and I was like, wait, they're asking me to go to MIT now. I guess I did something okay. But in the talk, just so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing, but if you want to, it's all right. I was a little green. It was in 2015, but in the talk, I had shot this woman who was Miss Universe, and she was in the studio. And while I was shooting her after she won, and she was already married, and she was going on a cover of a magazine. And her husband was across the room when I was photographing her. And she looks at her picture on the screen. She turns to him and she goes, honey, I can't stand my face. And I was like, oh, I mean, it was like the epitome of like everything I deal with every day. And then I was like, Miss Universe can't stand her face. So this is like every day for me. So it like irks me. It used to irk me to the point where I would try and convince people otherwise, but now it doesn't do that. Now it's like, okay, this is what people have. It's like built in. Let me figure out how they can live with it and be okay with how they appear, instead of trying to just feel like I have to fix them or something. But I mean, Ian, you went through it. Like, I think you guys, you know, you can see how handsome Ian is. My goodness.
Jesus.
But you went through it. Like, I know, my thing is to look at a human face. I think, first of all, I think it's the most interesting thing on the planet to look at because we're all so variant. And I have identical twin daughters. So when everybody says to me, you know, they look average or normal or not interesting or something, I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like everybody looks so different, including my identical twins look totally different to me. And I'm just like enamored by the human face, no matter what. And everybody's got beauty, so it's my job to find it. So when I put somebody in front of the camera, I start to like go click, 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 and figure it out. So it was great figuring that out with you.
A question for you. You excelled in one area by being on the SAIL team for the US. And now you picked up a camera. Now you're at the top of the world being honored at the UN. Are there some traits, practice, habits that you think you took from your sailing that you carried on into your new passion, photography?
Well, such a good question. So, for sure, definitely. And when you know what, even more so when I look at the guys who competed with me. So I'm 54 now. I competed from when I was 23. I started training for the Olympics and I finished when I was 30. And that 7-year period, like a lot of stuff went down with me. And I go, if you guys look back at your lives, like you have these little snippets of periods where you changed a lot and a lot of things happened and your life just took a left-hand turn that was unseen. It was all during that time. So when I picked up a camera, it was like, okay, I just played this game of training for the Olympics for 7 years. If I was going to do that with a camera, what would I do? And that's what I did. And if all the guys that I sail with that were the best in the world all became successful, I don't think there's one that I could think of that didn't go out of sailing and become successful in what they did, because we just knew how to train. We knew what the top of the field was. It's not like we all got there. I never got there. I would call myself a 180-degree loser because I would constantly screw up. And I didn't make the U.S. Olympic team. I made the U.S. sailing team, but I was winning the Olympic trials, would have made the U.S. sailing team, but I screwed up. I was at the World Championships and I was winning a race and I screwed up. I flipped over in a World Championship and I would have been like top 10 in the world, which was really tough to accomplish back then, but I screwed up. But all those things add up to fiber your being, and then they kind of invade other areas of your life. So when I picked up the camera, it was just a mentality thing. And it was I think I would say if everybody in here thinks about whatever they've done best in their life, whatever that is, like, I don't care if you cook a grilled cheese like a maniac, you know, whatever it is, could
The
be
best grilled cheese.
knitting, I don't know, whatever you do the best, like, you know what it took to get there. You know how many grilled cheeses you had to cook or whatever, you know, whatever it is, we all have one. I have two, but I'm a national, North American, European, and world champion sailor. So I missed the Olympics, but I made the U.S. sailing team. So I'm a good sailor, really good sailor, but I'm a great photographer. So for me, it was about it was like, that was the thing. I think the fire under the butt was the thing. So there must have been this thing in your life that lit the fire that got you to where you go, and then you just figure it out. And the obstacles that you go around make you better. You know, like my bad shoots, I had some bad shoots, like really tough shoots, but those are the ones I don't remember the good shoots. Sorry, Ian, I barely remember your shoot. It was too easy. It was too easy. But I remember the bad ones. Oh my God. I was shooting Mikhail Baryshnikov, and I'm like nervous. Of course I'm nervous. I mean, I'm anxious. I'm losing my marbles that I even got the job to get that guy in front of my camera. And I'm like, I go into it, and I don't know what I said or what I was doing, but I'm blabbering. I'm like, I have video. I'm like, I can see I'm so like nervous and just out of it. I got a great shot of him though. It was amazing. And then it turns out that he's a photographer, and he brings me into his office and he starts showing me these books and stuff. And he's showing me these dance, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, these are dancers. These are pictures of dancers. He goes, yeah, I'm a photographer. He goes, these are my books. I took these. And he's like one of the best dance photographers. I mean, he's the best dance photographer I've ever seen. I was like blown away. So he hands me these books. And after like 5-10 minutes, we're talking about his work. I turned to him and I go, you gave me like 5 minutes out there. I'm nervous as hell. And now we're in here talking about, well, like, why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you could we have seen the books first? If I saw the books and the photography first, I could have gone out there and I could have been like, I would have felt like, there's this common thread between us. Common threads are so huge for me. I'm always looking for common threads. I didn't know the common thread was there and I didn't perform well. So with him, it's like that kind of thing. But I learned. And I'm trying to learn whenever that stuff goes on. So I think going back to what you said, I mean, I know where my drive comes from. I mean, it comes from my dad and in a moment with my dad. And it was just like, my dad was a sailor. So I just wanted to be a good sailor for him. He trained for the Olympics. So I had the whole buildup of this, the dad that sailed, that puts the kid in. He put me and my 3 brothers in this boat at a young age, and my brothers didn't make it. It didn't stick with them, but it stuck with me. So I felt the whole responsibility of being a good sailor. Right. We want to make our parents proud. I want to be proud of my kids. Right. And I want them, to feel like I am proud of them for what they're doing. And so it was that. I think if you go to it, it was really that kind of thing, and I think we all, Yeah.
I thank you for sharing that, because I find that people, they take that essence, the habits, the practices in one area, take it to another and excel at that, take it to another. And so in so many ways, you have more in common with Jordan, for example, than Jordan has with, let's say, Scottie Pippen, because you're able to get to that top 0.001%. Now, I want to pivot a little bit. I know you had some slides that you wanted to show the team. Maybe we can dive into that if that's okay.
Sure. Let me, is it okay if I share my screen? You guys, first, I just want to show you my work. I want to show you what I do. I show you how I mold things, and I take basically, I mean, I wouldn't say lumps of clay, but this is what I like to think that I do. I'm gonna share my screen, and I just did this with this character, and then we did this. And then we did that, and I was like, oh, that's so good that I'm putting it on my website. So he's on my web. That shot, I just liked it. There was something about him that I liked there. And then, of course, I got to get the laughter. And then Mr. Cool, he had to put on his leather,
So who is this guy?
No.
So
introduce us.
Ian, can you share what you said before we joined this call? That they said you're a model from LA and you're. Can you?
Yeah, that was.
Look at this guy. Look at this.
that was definitely a unique afternoon. No, I got invited to speak at Bloomberg Tech in San Francisco, and they had people from all over the world. And I used one of Peter Hurley's photos, and folks from Australia and other countries were like, hey, so do you do modeling and healthcare on the side? Like, no, not at all. Like, that was just Peter Hurley doing his magic. That's not me. Kind of me, but also not me. So
there wasn't anybody else in there is my constant that's standard for me. But when he looked in the camera like this, I think we started with this, and then
that was the first
we
shot.
moved in. I mean, that was just so.
That was crazy.
I like people to look at themselves in a way that they haven't imagined that they could look. So my work is based on a very simple aesthetic. I use the same setup for everybody, like no matter who I'm shooting. Excuse me. So I'm trying to make them feel, now the thing is that they have to take it in. Like some people, I'll shoot a perfectly gorgeous picture and they'll look at it and they'll be like, oh my gosh. And I'll be like, I don't know how to do better than that. But you did not do that. You looked at these and you were like, is that me? I did that.
When I mentioned you had a PowerPoint, Peter, I didn't mean this. Actually, the other stuff that you had.
I'm gonna bring the other stuff up, but I gotta show, come on. We did this together.
Yes.
I'm not letting you off the hook. I'm not letting you slide.
Thank you.
All right, I'll bring up the other stuff. Hold on, let me share my
I thought Ian, you were just plugging yourself. I thought this was the slideshow.
I know, yeah.
No, he didn't know I had that queued. I wasn't gonna let that, Okay, so here's a little bit. Let me make sure you guys just Ian, nod your head if my sound's or just say something if the sound's not working. But I've got some this is my top 5 tips. So is it, oh no, it's behind me. Is it, what do you guys, I think I gotta mirror my screen to see that, right? The right way? How did we do this yesterday?
You can
Ian?
see it, but
you see the presenter notes and everything. I don't know. Let me mirror my screen. Or let me just, hold on. I'm just gonna do this for a second. Let me try this. How's that?
Yeah, it was better.
Yeah.
Better. Okay. Top 5 tips for looking more photogenic, people. You ready?
Yeah.
Get a pen, take some notes. Here we go. All right. Hold on. Let me see. There it is. All right, here we go. Can you hear it? Kayla. Now Kayla's back. Now, I had her. Can you hear it, Ian?
A little bit.
Get that forehead towards the camera. It's just going through the, hold on. Smokes, guys. Look at the difference here. From there to there. Come on, you got to be kidding me. Look at this. No?
We can hear it, but it's faint. If there's a way to increase
maybe
it.
if you want, you can just talk through it, I guess.
No. I can get it to, that's the thing I was trying to do, the computer audio. Let me just do the advanced thing and try. I should be able to get it.
Sure.
Share. Is that what? I don't think it shared my screen. Hold on. Here we go. Try it again. Okay. All right, here we go. This is Kayla. Is that better or no? Kayla's back now. I had her, then I'm like,
it's better. We can just be quiet and then listen to it.
Boom. Holy smokes, guys. Look at the difference here. From there to there. Come on, you got to be kidding me. Look at this. I got an even better one. Watch this. Watch this one. We're going to go with Callie. Here's Callie, right? Pretty girl, nice, not bad with the jawline. It appears that we have some jawline here. But watch, we have some action in here I don't want to see. I want to stretch that skin out. Watch this. Shabang! There, now we're talking. Oh my goodness. All right? Now we got it. Look at this. From there to there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. So I hope those illustrate my point, and I hope you got a lot out of that. And I want to see necks or foreheads towards the camera in all your shots from now on. All right. So that was a video. Wait, I'll just put my video. Whatever. My background's a mess. It's fine. You can see my lighting and everything, and there's a TV screen behind me. Anyway, so that went viral and put me on Good Morning America. And then they got to know me a little bit. So I did another video, and then they put me on Good Morning America again. So just so you know, I want everybody to try this. You're probably all sitting down unless you're doing a standing desk. But if you're taking a picture, either standing or sitting, you want to sit up real straight And I'll show you to the side what you want to do because it feels weird but looks good. You want to sit up real straight or stand real straight and then lean back slightly and jam your forehead forward like this. So your gonial curve, which is the angle of the jawline right here, as any doctors in here, is that proper terminology? Has to go over the clavicle. So it's like this, like that, something like that. And that will get your jawline out. And that eliminates, not only if you have a little excess baggage underneath your chin, which most of us do, it also, if you're skinny, it tightens up your skin so you look even better. So it's like a dual purpose thing. Now you can't do it to the side because it looks silly like this. But if you do it to the camera like this, nobody's going to be able to tell the difference. So just do it. Do that anytime you're in a group photo, anybody's with you. If you're ever with a photographer who doesn't know what the heck they're doing and they don't tell you to do that, do it anyway. Practice in front of the mirror. You can watch this video again. It's on YouTube. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's Peter Hurley Photo. And then this next one is on there. This is my number 2 tip. But number 1, jawline for sure. It makes everybody look more attractive. It's the start of something good. You got to do it. Okay, number 2. Let's go. I got this. Here we go.
According to a new video from a professional photographer that has gone super viral, there's one facial expression that makes everyone instantly look better. It's called squinching.
It's all about the art of the squinch. You heard right, the squinch, a magical combo of squinting and pinching that can instantly transform your deer in headlights look into a more sultry gaze.
Confidence comes from the eyes, and so does fear.
It's the secret weapon of photographer and former model Peter Hurley. I went to Peter's New York studio to see how I could up my say cheese game.
Now I want you to squinch.
What is squinching?
I would have to say that squinching is narrowing the distance between your pupil and your lower eyelid to create confidence to the onlooker.
Why did you come out with the squinch?
I needed a word for it because I would always tell people to squint, but then I'd be like, no, it's not really squinting. And I was like, I gotta make another word for this.
If you want to pick up a girl at the coffee shop, squinch. Squinch the heck out of it.
So that was longer, but you can look at that. You can take a look if you want to search for it. I think it's on my YouTube channel as well. Plus another one they did to me that we did more recently. I got featured in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and they put some stuff in there. I also have, so the squinching, just so you know, what you're gonna do, and this I made up this word. So squinting, look, confidence comes to the eyes. Imagine a deer in the headlights. They widen their eyes, right? When people are uncertain about anything, our eyes widen. So all you want to do is go back to the way you would normally speak to somebody, but that doesn't feel, it feels foreign to us, but you don't understand because you can't see your eyes when you're speaking to somebody else. And the number one thing that I've learned since I've been a photographer is that your brain will try to tell you what your face looks like, but it does not know. I'm going to repeat that. Your brain will try to tell you what your face looks like, but it doesn't know. So if your brain, if you're in front of a camera, if you're in front of a camera, you have no clue. The only time you know what your face looks like actually is when you're in front of a mirror and then you're flipped. So we have this mirror relationship with ourselves. We look at pictures of ourselves. We're like, sometimes people say that doesn't look like me because you're used to seeing yourself. Hopefully you look in a mirror more than you look in pictures of yourself. That would be weird. But you know, but so you've used to seeing yourself flipped, and you probably don't think about your eyes when you're talking to people. But I would like you to go to a mirror, and I would like you to look in the mirror and do a couple different things with your eyes. And the one thing when we meet somebody new, or if you're in an uncomfortable situation, you can notice that there's like a pressure back on your eyes to open. Like I'm a little far away right now and small, but if I open my eyes and talk to you, it looks weird, like it's strange. If I talk naturally, I'm not thinking about my eyes, but there's like a relaxed business in my eye. What happens is when we get confident, the lower lid goes up. It's kind of like, you know, if you look at, I mean, if you want to take it to another degree, it's like Clint Eastwood, the way he looks in the camera, you know, he's got that squinch on majorly, and it's the lower eyelid up. So if you want to look more confident or appear more confident to somebody, you want to do this so you can practice it in front of a mirror. And the whole video teaches a little bit more about that if you want to go back and look at that. All right, so we've got the jawline out, we've got the squinching. The one thing that I tell everybody to do. This is a standard thing when people get in front of the cameras. We've been programmed since a very young age to say cheese. You know what cheese looks like? It looks like this. Does this look comfortable? There is no reason for you to let your teeth out when you get in front of a camera, unless you're smiling for a reason, because otherwise it looks like this. And that, I have no shot. Here I have a shot. All I said was shut your mouth. Now I have no shot, I got a shot. I have no shot, I got a shot. You see that? If you look at pictures of yourself like that, you want to get those out of there. You want your smile to be real. I used to get jobs just for my smile because I could fake it so well. I did these jobs where they would ask me to laugh, and my agent was always like, "Why do you always book those?" I was like, "Because I just go in and I crack up fake, and it looks real, and that's the way I do it." So that's something that you want to do. You want to make sure that my favorite term for either profile pictures, professional pictures, anything that represents you is, I want you to look confident and I want you to look approachable simultaneously. The only way to do that is to squint your eyes and add a hint of a smile. So you do a closed mouth, tiny smile. So I want everybody to close their mouth right now. If you close your mouth and you're not smiley at all, you also have to be aware of the way you come across genetically with your mouth. As we age, the corners of our mouth dip down. There is a term for that. It's called resting, you know what face. You have to turn the corners of your mouth up a little bit. So it's a closed mouth, tiny smile. Go from here. Hold on, I'll come out of the screen share for a minute. So go from something like this to here. And I have this silly mustache and stuff because my wife, I had a beard and I was sick of it, and then I shaved it, and then my wife had me to do this, so we're trying it for a couple days. Probably gonna get rid of it. But tiny little smiles, closed mouth, tiny smiles, great place to start. Now, some of you probably aren't designed to close your mouth. Some people, their lips are smaller, their teeth are bigger, and they look like they have pursed lips all the time. For those people, I'm just saying, you always have your mouth open anyway. Just open your mouth a little bit. Let your mouth relax. Your mouth will be relaxed if it's open. It's supposed to drop open. So everybody try this right now. Close your mouth and do a slight smile, very little, and see how that feels. If your lips are closing and it feels weird to pull a smile while you're doing that, let the teeth creep out. Or get serious, breathe through your mouth. Don't drop your mouth open, just breathe through your mouth. Is everybody trying this? Come on, stop. Some of you are not playing my game right now. Come on. And breathe through your mouth and then pull a hint of a smile. Feels really weird, but could look good. And if you practice that in front of a mirror, you can get better at it for pictures. Some people, normally the number one thing that messes up my pictures is the mouth. The mouths are weird. They go all over the place. We got a gazillion muscles going into them, and we want real, genuine smiles, and fake ones just don't. It's not good for the onlooker. You want the onlooker to be engaged with you. I always say I try to take pictures of people smiling that are real so that their spouse or significant other looks at it and is like, oh my gosh, that's the real smile. Look at them. And when somebody tells me, they'll be like, you captured them like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, that was my goal. That's what I'm doing. And when the minute my wife started smiling at me, I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, this is it. And then, so I always was like, if anybody ever captures her smile in a picture, I always love it. So it's really important. Okay, couple more. What do we got? Where are we? Where's my, I don't know where the, see, I closed it and now it's not even showing up, the keynote. But I'm gonna just share my screen and I'm gonna go to keynote and we're just gonna go up like that. It's gonna work fine. Let's go to the next one. So here's the tiny smile. Look at this, from here to here. Look at this, from here to here. She's barely moving, but the vibe you get from it's really important. So that's another practice in front of the mirror type thing. Do that from there to there, something like that. All right, what's the next one? Oh, wait, hold on. You got to hear this. This is a good one. I like this one. Here we go.
Do you have a thing where you think you've got sides?
Oh, I do. Oh, we all know what our good side is. I'll show it if you can come close.
Okay, let's.
A hideously embarrassing close-up.
Okay.
All right, I will show you right now. Should I start with the good side or the bad side?
Good side.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is my good side. Now, I don't know why, but I have a jaw and I have a chin and I have a, back of the flat. Actually, could you come around sort of like 3/4-ish a little bit? Okay, there. Okay, yeah, okay, there. Is that it? Come in a little tighter, please. A little tighter. All right, so far we're still doing okay. It's all right. It's not bad. All right, now, stay there and just watch this. Oh, here. Look at that. The neck goes away. The nose becomes this malformed thing. I got half a cheek sticking out right here. So I think that I kind of go from Richard Gere to Richard Nixon.
I love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's amazing. So that's the other thing is that I found that everybody has a sweet spot. So my job as a photographer is to get the person in front of the camera and then start to decide what angle I like. If you notice, we're going to pick on Ian again. Very good straight on, Ian. I'm just going to do it. It's just got to happen. Very good straight on. But when I hit this little angle here, I love that one. I just love that. But you're good that side. Now, if you'll notice, I shot that side of him. I shot him a little bit closer to the center. I shot him centered a lot, but I never went the other way. Like the nose never went camera left. It must be a mess. Can you do it right now for us? Let me see your face. Go camera left. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, so it becomes very important. No, you guys, hold on. Let me just stop that. Now we're going to talk about the light. This is me in some bad light. But it becomes very important you'll know, if you want to Google this, Google Barbra Streisand went on Ellen and did an interview. And they sat down in the seats and Barbara said, no, this is no good for me. I got to sit on the other side. And they got up and switched because of Barbara's side of her face that she liked. But it is true. We have a more attractive side generally. Some people, I made up the word ambifacial. Some people are what I consider ambifacial. And that being said, those are the people I can photograph any which way, any direction. But if you go to a professional photographer, you really should be figuring out what your sides are. Some of you are in here are going, oh my gosh, I know my side. I don't like that other side. You probably already know it, but I'll give you a couple tips to find it out. One is 60% of everybody, from my numbers, there was a study that came out, and I'm not big on studies. I'm big on finding it out on my own. I'm a big trial and error guy. So the minute the study came out, they said it was like 85% of people are better looking on their left side of their face. So going this way with their face, if you could see me. And I was like, that's not true. That's ridiculous. First of all, I don't know where this study came from, and they didn't even ask me. I shoot more faces 3 feet in front of me than anybody for the last 20 some odd years. So I did it, and I found that it's actually 60%. 60% of people are better looking on the left-hand side of their face. Now, there's this thing out there, and you could look it up about people being symmetrical. I could care less about that. Some people, we're human. We're different. We have different things going on. Nobody's perfect, and if you are, I don't think I don't think it should be a method of gauging beauty. Anyway, I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? You look at somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I like that. So as an artist, I'm just doing that with my subjects. I'm like, I like that, and sometimes they disagree with me, and I'm trying to get over it, but I'm trying to get the best out of them. So 60% of you will be better looking on your left side. Now, the 40% that are probably better on their right side, you don't care about the 60% that are left. So you have to go and look at pictures of yourself. Do not look in the mirror because you'll be flipped. Look at pictures of yourself and see what you like. Now, here's an easy way to figure it out. If you have a hair part on one side or the other, chances are that the side the hair is parted on is your good side. Now, if you're lacking follicular horsepower, I understand. You have to think about where you used to part your hair when it was there. But for my job as a photographer, and any photographer you photograph with, they should be figuring out different sides of your face that might work. All right. So the hair part theory works 90% of the time. So look at the way you part your hair. If you part your hair on either side, it goes however it wants. You may be ambifacial, which means that you can be photographed on any side of your face. But you should know this. It's good to know if you're more confident on one side, why not show that side off? If you're at a bar and you're single, you're going to go to the right side of the bar if your left side is good, right? Anyway, just a thought. All right, let's talk about this is a shot of me and I'm backlit. So one of the things that I teach all the photographers I coach is the light that is hitting you at any moment, the most important the light is, the brightest light that's hitting you at that moment. If you're out to dinner and it's a dark lit restaurant, the brightest light could be the candle in the middle of the table. That would be like your key light. That would be like the sun to me. So Walt Whitman's quote is here, which is my favorite quote. And it's a wonderful quote for life, but it's also a wonderful quote for photography. And it's a wonderful quote for you guys to remember. Keep your face always toward the sunshine and let the shadows fall behind you. So that I love. So for me in this picture, I just took this real quick, but I'm in LA actually. And I was at my buddy's house, and he's got this big window behind me, and all the sun's outside. And I took a backlit shot. So my eyes are dark. The sun's wrapping around myself. It's not a good picture. And then I turned around, and now look at the light. So now there's a little bit of reflection in the glasses, Peter. But anyway, there is some light. So now you see a big difference in the light. Whenever you're taking a picture with a group, if there is a photographer there, they should find the brightest source of light that's hitting you, and it could be behind you, it could be any direction whatsoever. And the person photographing you should put their back in that area and then point the camera at you, and you will get the most flattering light that you could possibly have at that moment. Just remember that. So anytime that you're out and you're with friends, make them turn around. Be like, no, the brightest light's over there. Just turn around and put the photographer over there. And that's probably one of the better tips that I could possibly give you today. But those are my top 5 tips. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm happy to answer questions or whatever you guys want to do. I love talking about this stuff. I want people to be more confident in their appearance. I think it's society puts so much on us to walk out the door in the morning and look good for others that you should feel good about yourself as you're doing that on a daily basis. So I'm here to help.
So we'll open up for questions. We have 5 minutes left. So anyone from the audience, project manager group, anyone have any questions?
You ever use Photoshop?
Do I use Photoshop? You better believe it. Yeah. I do use Photoshop. I use, hold on, I think the TV went up. Let me turn the TV back on. I use Photoshop, and we're having a big thing with AI tools now. So as photographers, we're starting to get these tools that help us. And it came up recently where I was posting on Instagram, and my image said, utilize with like AI for it. And I was like, I didn't use any AI. And I barely put it into a program that used AI to retouch it. So nowadays, I think this goes back to how much Photoshop is being used, how much is the photographer utilizing it, and how much does it represent you or not represent you. If you look at Ian's photos that I did of him, they're Photoshop. Like I retouch them, but does that represent Ian? Yeah, he doesn't look any different than he looks. You look pretty much the same, you know? Oh, there's my background back. I do very minimal, and I basically want my subjects. So what happens is the camera's a gift, but the human eye picks up things different than the camera. Like we see colors differently than the camera sees it. Contrast, highlights, everything is like our aperture on our eye. Like we see so much more than what the camera can see. So all I do is try to get the camera to mimic what the human eye sees in a little bit of a higher contrast. So I get a little bit darker shadows and a little bit more color than what the human eye would see. So just to make the images appear like you, but on a good day. And I think that's what I did with Ian, right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other
Peter,
questions?
what are your tips for just people who are hesitant to get in front of the camera? Which is 99%, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Here's the tip. You ready? Eleanor Roosevelt. You're the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be again. You're not going to like to do it now. But in 10 years, when you look at that sucker, you're going to be like, I was hot. Potentially. That's the quote that I always quote. I feel like the other thing is that the cameras are capturing history. The history of you being recorded. Look, video is way different. Like a still image, a portrait of a person is so important to have just for your family, for your offspring. If if they're going to carry your picture down through generations, if no pictures of you are out there, I always force people to get in front of the camera. Whenever somebody comes in with either a parent or a sibling or anybody in their family comes into the studio, I always jam them in front of the camera together because I think it's so important. I think that picture is going to be more important than the picture that I was actually paid to take at that moment. And I always give those pictures away. So I would say stop doing that. Like figure out what it is in your brain that you're so hung up on and figure out where it stemmed from. I bet you it was Johnny in the 6th grade who said you had a big nose or something. And that's where we get this stuff from, because I've never had a 10-year-old walk into my studio and say, you know what, I should have lost the 15 pounds, or I should have lost 10 pounds before I came in here, Peter, like ever. And every other person that walks in is like, oh my gosh, it's a terrible hair day. Look at this frizz. Like, what am I going to do with this? Look at this mess you have to work with. I didn't get any sleep. Yeah, kids don't do that at all. And I shoot a lot of kids too. And I love it because I just love seeing how open they are. And I wonder if it's when we have to, find a significant other or be attractive to other people that we put this pressure on ourselves. But it's there. Hey, everybody's got it to a different level. I call it the self-acceptance gap. It's the TEDx talk. You should probably watch it. But it's prevalent, and you guys just getting around it to understand that do it for your kids, do it for your spouse, do it for your significant other, do it for your parents. Everybody, if you'll notice, if you go on any social media platform and you change your profile picture, you get more likes on that thing than anything else that you could have posted for the whole year. So go do it. I have a team of photographers. If you want to look for one, just go to headshotcrew.com and hit find photographer. We got them everywhere. I trained them. They're all pretty good. And I'll be in LA next week, so I'm making it happen.
All right, I think we're at the top of the hour. If there's one more question we can squeeze in. All right, if there's no other questions, thank you very much, Peter, for all those wonderful tips. And thank you for your time.
Thanks for your time, Peter.
Thank you so
Always a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Very much,
We
sir.
enjoyed it
Thank you.
very much.
Great. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.